If the supervolcano beneath Yellowstone National Park were to experience another major eruption, it could spit ash for thousands of miles across the United States, destroying buildings, suffocating crops, and shutting down power plants. That would be a big disaster. But that doesn't mean we should all start freaking out. The odds of that happening are thankfully pretty low. The Yellowstone supervolcano, thousands of times more powerful than a regular volcano, has only had 3 truly enormous eruptions in history. One occurred 2.1 million years ago, one 1.3 million years ago, and one 664,000 years ago. And despite what you sometimes hear in the press, there's no indication that we're due for another super-eruption anytime soon. In fact, it's even possible that Yellowstone might never have an eruption that large again. Even so, the Yellowstone supervolcano remains an endless source of apocalyptic fascination, and it's not hard to see why. In September 2014, a team of scientists published a paper in Geochemistry, Geophysics, Geosystems exploring what a Yellowstone super-eruption might actually look like. Among other things, they found the volcano was capable of burying states like Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Colorado in 3 feet of harmful volcanic ash, a mix of splintered rock and glass, and blanket the Midwest. That much ash could kill plants and animals, crush roofs, and short all sorts of electrical equipment. When I called up one of the study's co-authors, Jacob Lowenstern of the U.S. Geological Survey, he stressed that the paper was not any sort of prediction of the future. Even if Yellowstone did erupt again, you probably wouldn't get that worst-case scenario, he says. What's much more common are small eruptions. That's a point that often gets ignored in the press. And even those small eruptions are very rare. Lowenstern is the scientist in charge of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory in Menlo Park, California. So I talked to him further about what we actually know about the Yellowstone supervolcano, what its eruptions might look like, and why the odds of disaster are low. Lurking beneath Yellowstone National Park is a reservoir of hot magma 5 miles deep, fed by a gigantic plume of molten rock welling up from hundreds of miles below. That heat is responsible for many of the park's famous geysers and hot springs. And as magma rises up into the chamber and cools, the ground above periodically rises and falls. On rare occasions throughout history, that magma chamber has erupted. The vast majority of those eruptions in Yellowstone have been smaller lava flows, with the last occurring at Pitchstone Plateau some 70,000 years ago. But the reason why Yellowstone gets so much attention is the remote possibility of catastrophic super-eruptions. A super-eruption is anything that measures magnitude 8 or more on the Volcano Explosivity Index, in which at least 1,000 cubic kilometers, or 240 cubic miles of material gets ejected. That's enough to bury Texas 5 feet deep. These super-eruptions are thousands of times more powerful than even the biggest eruptions we're used to. Here's a chart from USGS comparing the Yellowstone super-eruptions with the Mount St. Helens eruption of 1980. The difference is staggering.